Microtransactions in a single-player video game. Sounds weird, right? But apparently there's some people that are okay with it. Now, is it actually a good or bad thing? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to another quick save episode. I am Producer Jay, and I am back. I've returned from my brief sabbatical. I won't get into it right now because it involves a lot of explaining and stuff like that, and I probably won't get into it too deep anyway, but I'll probably get into it in the podcast. But now that I am back, we will be doing regular podcasts. We've taken a break from that for a while, but I am actually excited to get back into it because there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot I wanted to talk about, and I got to get a lot of stuff off my chest. But one thing I want to get off my chest is the whole Dragon's Dogma II controversy. Now, it's interesting because in the lead up to this game's release, a lot of people were very excited, myself included. I know Brother Zay and Brother Matt were very excited. They bought it. Even Brother Matt was like he wasn't pressured into buying it, but he he felt FOMO, and I was feeling it too. So he actually bought it, I think like a day before, 2 days before. Oh no, maybe he bought it on release. And I was still on the fence. I was thinking about it, wasn't sure, and I decided not to get it because my backlog is killing me, and I can't be adding more to it, especially a game like this. It's so expensive. But what I wanted to talk about was the whole microtransaction stuff. Now, microtransactions obviously is not a new thing. Like, there's been in games for God knows how long. But what's not common is their use in single player games. Now, it's happened before. It's actually happened a few times, notably in the Assassin's Creed games. There's microtransactions where you can buy in-game currency to get stuff in game and stuff like that. And apparently in the original Dragon's Dogma was also like that, where you can buy certain items and in-game currency from your platform of choice to store. And it sparked a lot of conversation regarding whether or not this is okay, or if this is egregious, or is it bad, or whatever the case. So let's look at the actual microtransactions, because I have the Steam page open. So a lot of basically this is the stuff that they offer. So they got like stuff like a thoughtful gift. Now, granted, like I said, I haven't bought this game, I haven't played it. I don't know what a lot of these things do, because a lot of things is just names like camping gear. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. A thoughtful gift, I don't know, happy lure item, sound collection. Okay, I can understand charging for this stuff. But the main thing that people seem to be upset about is this one. Well, this one and this one, these two. And I guess all these as well. I mean, if you look at the reviews, nobody really reviewed this, but this one got negative reviews, and this one got mostly negative reviews. Anyway, so the Art of Metamorphosis is a character editor. So they're selling you the ability to change your character. And then there's a warp location maker, which is basically fast travel. So they're selling you these items. There are items in the game that allow you to do these things. Now, I will say, you can earn these things in-game. And there are people who have played the game that say you will pretty much get these very easily, and there's no reason to have it as a microtransaction, that you can easily get this stuff in-game without any hassle, and that it's a non-issue essentially to them. And I kind of agree with that, because they're in the game, you can earn them, and it's very like low price, so it's not a big deal. My issue, and I will say I do have an issue with this. I'm not saying that it's like game changing or like worth giving negative reviews, because if we look up It has like mixed reviews. Before, I think like right before I recorded this, it said like mostly negative. So I don't think it's worth giving it a negative review based on these microtransactions. However, I do think it's something that we shouldn't take lightly and that we shouldn't just let slide. Because the issue is, I guess you could say it's a slippery slope. Because not only are you saying it's okay to charge for single player stuff, like this stuff, like let's say this wasn't an issue, like this was they didn't have this in the game. Or they didn't sell you this like outside of the game. They essentially made it so you have to do certain things, like you have to buy items to do this stuff. Now, a lot of games do that, which is fine, but you can make the argument that it could get worse. This is an evolving game. It's not like these games come out and just that's it. Like, no, they put updates, they change stuff. They can make it so, I mean, Grant, I'm not saying that they're going to do this. I'm not saying that they will do this. I'm not saying that they have done this. But it's the idea that they could if they wanted to. And I think we are putting a lot of faith in these publishers to do the right thing. And I think that's a fool's errand. You don't want to put your faith in these publishers because they will let you down. They always let you down. Even the greatest of great developers will let you down in some way. It might not be something like this, but you don't want to automatically assume the best of a certain developer or publisher because they're always trying to make money. That's the ultimate goal for these things, and it's why you shouldn't be too willing to give up certain things that should be expectations. Hold on, let me just switch back to the main camera because I don't think I'm gonna show anything else. So yeah, my issue is that I don't want this to be a normal thing. Now, Capcom in particular has done this multiple times in the past. They've done it for other games as well. I think I read somewhere that someone said Devil May Cry used to do this. And I just mentioned Ubisoft with the Assassin's Creed games that they did this. Another one was Shadow of Mordor, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. They did that. And that one was actually worse because it was a grind fest to get the certain items that they were charging for. I just don't like the idea of charging real money for in-game items for a $70 game. Now that's something that nobody really wants to talk about. This is a full price $70 game, and they're still nickel and diming you for shit that this is free to play shit. Like, honestly, let's be real. This is something that you would see in a free to play game. And I don't like that they're doing this in full titles. Imagine if what's the game? I guess God of War. Let's say God of War Ragnarok. That's off the top of my head. They started charging what's the currency in that? Is it rupees? I think it's rupees. Anyway, imagine if they started charging for in-game stuff like that. You would never hear the end of it because they never have done that before. And does it change the game much? No, because you can earn the stuff easily in the game. But it's just the fact that it's there. The fact that they're trying to entice people to buy these things because we're adults. Well, I'm an adult. People playing this game are going to be adults. It's a mature game. They're enticing the adult who doesn't have really time to game to basically say, hey, you can get this game, and then if you don't feel like grinding or doing anything, you can just buy all this shit and still play the game and you'll be fine. And it's like, that's not a good mentality to have. You don't want to make it enticing because publishers will always push to see what they can get away with. We've seen this happen throughout history, throughout the past few decades in gaming. They've always done things, little things here and there that you don't really realize or think about much. Remember freaking Project $10? Yeah, you don't remember that, right? That was actually, if you don't remember, that was actually a thing that publishers were trying to do where if it had an online multiplayer component, they were if the game was used, if you bought it used, it wouldn't come with the multiplayer. You have to pay $10 to get the multiplayer aspect or some aspect that was left out. But if you bought the game new, you would get it because it was like a code that was separate. They did that, and people didn't like it, so they stopped it. I feel like this is slowly leaning towards that, and I don't like the idea. Like, granted, this is not the worst offender of this type of thing. I just don't like the idea of it, and I don't like that people are vehemently defending it. Now, granted, they're doing it in good faith. They're trying to say, oh, just, focus on the game itself, judge it based on the game itself, and I agree. I think you shouldn't really judge the game based off of this aspect. I keep pointing to this, but I already cut it off the screen. That you shouldn't focus too much on the microtransaction stuff, and judge the game based on the game itself. Like, is it actually fun to play? Which is what I've heard. I just don't defend this. It does no good to defend stuff like this because you are enabling not developers. I mean, maybe developers, but you are enabling publishers, especially, to continue down this path of let's push this envelope and see what else we can get away with. They're okay with this. Let's see what else we can get away with. And they'll keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing until eventually they reach a point where everybody is getting upset about something. And they're like, okay, let's dial it back. And then everybody will be like, oh, okay, they dialed it back a little bit. Now it's back to where we're comfortable. No, they shouldn't be doing this at all. Don't do this. The game will sell. It's getting good reviews, or it got good reviews. And also, one thing, this was revealed like last minute, like right before the game released. Because if they showed it in the reviews, it would have been mentioned and people would have been upset about it. Now, again, this has been done before and it's probably going to be done more. This is not the end, but I don't want people to think that this is something that we shouldn't talk about, that we shouldn't like make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. You could just earn the stuff and get it. Like, you don't have to buy it. Don't buy it if you don't want it. It's not the point. Like, it couldn't get worse. It can get worse. It will get worse if we don't talk about it and bring light to it and put pressure on publishers to not push it further than this. Because right now, this is all right. It's not the worst thing ever. It's livable, but I don't like where we're headed, and I don't want people to think that it's okay to go down this path. Where am I at? Okay, this has been long enough. I don't want to rant too long because I did that before. I made it like freaking 20-something minutes. So yeah, like I said earlier, we're gonna be doing we're gonna be coming back with the podcast, regular traditional podcast. I'm gonna be coming back to the Excuse Me Brother podcast as well, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.